Hey guys, Coach Ben here from Simplified Fitness Business, and today we're looking at whether or not you should or should not be selling supplements as part of your business model. Is it profitable? Is it going to help your business grow, or is it more just going to hinder the name? At the end of the day, are you creating a problem or are you solving one? Hi guys, Ben from Simplified Fitness Business, and let's talk about supplements. What's up or not sup? Like, should you be adding supplements to your business, or are they really just an added really drain on your time and energies? First of all, there's so many right answers to this question. And right off the bat today, I'm not going to be getting into whether or not they're nutritionally beneficial for your clients, and a whole bunch of other videos on that on my fitness page. Today, we're going to be looking at whether or not they're going to benefit your business. You're trying to grow and scale your businesses. Let's look at how they can or cannot help you grow. Cool. All right, so first of all, we're going to look at a couple of things. Supplements do have a place in the nutrition world. They do have a place in the business aspect of your fitness world as well. But whether or not they're going to benefit your client and your business really comes down to your business model and what sort of clients you're working with. So, I mean, first of all, before you look at whether or not you should add supplements to your bottom line and your lineup, you got to look at whether or not they're going to add to the experience for your client. There's a couple of different ways we can roll out supplements, but at the end of the day, what sort of business do you want to be known for running? Who's your client and what do they look like? Look, are you working with top-end pro athletes, or are you working with Karen and Bobby, mum and dad, who are just really trying to get a little bit fitter? Who is your target market? If you don't know that, then this is going to be a hard question to work. Are you working with those top 1%ers? Those guys really need to have a super balanced nutrition profile. And first of all, if you don't have the skill sets behind that, how are you going to sort of manage to add supplements into that? Like, if you're going to work with a top-end athlete, like pro bowler or pro footballer, you've got to know your stuff. Like, they're going to see through that. And if not, remember, they're working with a whole bunch of other professionals who are also going to know their stuff as well. So are you adding to that situation, or are you just adding more complication? Are supplements better than food? Well, short answer, no, it's not. Never better than food. But there are certain situations where it's going to be a better solution than food. It's just never going to top food. And bottom line is it going to make their life better? When we talk about the client experience, when we talk about your business, you're here overall, like most fitness businesses, to solve a problem for your client, to improve their life some way. So is it actually improving their life, or are you just adding more complexity to the situation? Bottom line, are you solving a problem for your client or simply creating one? Yeah. So, all right, we've all sort of been in the industry for a little while now, and supplements are always a tricky one. There's always so many people no one ever sits on the fence. Everyone is very pro or very, against supplements. And for me, I've always sat on the fence on this one. It's not that I'm indecisive on both, but I can recognize that supplements can have a place in many areas of someone's nutrition and someone's fitness. Not always about what's right. Most of the time, it's really just about what's right for the client. Now, we're here to talk about what's right for your business. So, I mean, supplements they're typically done so very, very poorly by most big gyms and gyms that run them. And if you've ever done a coaching program before, one of the things they always talked about is how can you add extra sources of revenue to your doing. We've all had those DMs from the random guy who's just noticed that I'm in the fitness industry and just wanted to find out if I'm interested in adding some extra dollars to my bottom line. If that's you, stop it. It's really annoying. Stop doing it. Stop it now. No good. That point of view is all about adding bottom line adding dollars to your bottom line. And that's one thing. But I mean, it always takes me back looking at supplements. One of my first jobs in the fitness industry was for a bigger gym, and the owner wanted to add some extra profit. He got the idea that if we stocked our own supplements, we could sell them direct to the clients and they wouldn't have to go to other providers and supplement stores, and we could make that dollar and make a few extra dollars from our clients. And, you sort of, at some point, you sort of got to stop and ask, how many dollars does the client actually have that we can take from them? But anyway, so his solution was to get in some supplements. And we first of all tried a couple of different supplements, and we tried different brand names, and we got them in, and we ended up selling them. It was fine. So he goes, right, this is working. We're going to go big on this. We're going to make it really, really good. So his first step was just outsource some supplements. Now, you can go a couple of different ways here, but he chose not to go the quality path. So I remember one of my first roles in that project was to sit in a warehouse for 3 weekends straight, putting labels with our brand name on them over the top of the labels of the products we purchased. And that was a soul-crushing couple of weekends, just to sit there and paste on our own labels over these other supplements, which I knew to be pretty sub-poor. Anyway, so in the little bags of supplements, they went up on the shelf, and they looked really nice, and were sold them for the clients. Now, Saving Grace actually tasted kind of half decent. So clients thought because they tasted great, they must be great, because, hey, that's all that matters, right? And so away we went. And then we started doing our challenges, and all of a sudden the food programs that we were giving out free for our clients, or the programs that we were giving out free for our clients, now we were adding in 6 meals a day. 4 of those meals had some form of protein into them. Plus, he was giving out, or wanting people to have pre-workouts before their workouts. And we've all been down that path and seen that happen in gyms. So at the end of the day, these clients were going through a tub of supplements on the pre-workout side every month, and 1 to 2 tubs of protein or bags of protein every month. Now, if you've got 100 clients in that challenge, that's a tidy little profit there. And now, they're not to say that's good or bad. However, you've got to look at the ethics of the situation and why you're in it in the first place. I mean, I'm not here to say your business model is good or bad. You run your business the way you want to. There's a couple of different ways you can run business, but the sticking point for me was always that feeling of that we were simply providing supplements for the sake of providing supplements, for the sake of providing a profit and selling it. Client. Where it really got me was that we were now enforcing them upon all the clients. Every single client went through the door, got a free program and a free food plan, and then we're putting supplements in there. And don't get me wrong, made a heap of money on that. However, not always the best way to do it. And I had to ask myself, why was I in the industry? That sort of experience is why I got out of the fitness industry in the first place, or at least as far as the big box gyms, and why I moved into my own private facility where we could work more focused on the clients. And that's just my personal sort of opinion on that situation and how I felt going out of that. But while adding supplements was technically a good profitable margin, the way it was run in that specific situation wasn't the best as far as I was concerned. While that model could definitely work, there would be better ways, and I would say there are probably better ways to run it in a more ethical nature. Typically, we were running that out where the gym was promoting these supplements as the way to lose weight, which for anyone out there that does any sort of nutrition, that's just not the case, yeah? So, I mean, that was always something that we saw. And then every time you see any coaching program for new PTs online, it's always about adding bottom dollars, adding extra sources of revenue. And one of the models that always stuck with me as being probably a poor fit was if you look at a starting off PT who just started their own studio, maybe they've been doing PT down the park, and we'd see it here up in like North Queensland, here in Townsville, we get lots of people running the park. It's beautiful days outside, nice and warm. A lot of people run from the park. And now young trainer goes and gets his own studio, and his coach goes, you've got to add some extra revenue to your thing. So he gets in all these supplements. Now, as a small PT, I've worked for big gyms, I've worked for small gyms, and I've been the small PT. As a small PT, when you buy it, you're going to get it in cheap if you buy it in bulk. However, you're not going to sell it in bulk. So what ends up happening is these supplements just sit on the shelf. Actually, I've worked in gyms where supplements sat on the shelf so long, they were normally getting sold out of date. And if you've worked in a big box gym, you've seen this happen too, yeah? So he was getting all these supplements in and trying to sell them, and obviously that was a disaster. The other bottom line revenue we saw them trying to push was if you're a small PT, if you want to make some extra revenue, why not charge your clients some extra money to get access to the gym whenever they want, sell a gym membership? And fundamentally, that was flawed as well because, well, you can't compete with the big gyms. You're never going to have the big equipment. You can get a membership for a gym for $10 to $20 a week anyway. So if you're charging $10 to $15 a week, what are you competing with on the gyms? You're trying to compete with them on all their equipment, which you don't have. And so you just don't have the budget for that. You don't have the facility for that. And so ultimately, you're really just trying to milk a few extra dollars out of your clients when you could spend far more of that energy actually applying it to providing a better service. On top of that, now you've got this tiny little studio with 20 members all trying to cram in at once. You've got no room to actually train your clients, which is problematic as well. For the same reason, as a PT, adding supplements might not necessarily be the best way to actually boost your revenue in your business and make your business more successful. If you're a small business trying to grow, you know damn well that you can't compete with a bigger box gym or more established gym on product alone or service alone or facilities alone. You simply don't have the budget. You're still growing. And we've all been through that. Hey, I'm still going through that. There's always someone bigger than you. And if you're trying to compete with the guys that are bigger than you, you can't compete on price. You can't compete on facilities because you simply haven't grown that big yet. So with the supplements, you're not going to be able to compete on the range of supplements, the solutions. So very, very like inevitably, you're going to end up having to stock a smaller range of supplements because that's all you can afford. And you're going to get stuck where not all supplements will supply a solution to all clients' problems. So you're either one of two stages. You can then send the client elsewhere to get them anyway, or you can buy that in and not make any profit on it and just help the client out, which is still okay to do. Or you can try and get the client to buy the existing products you've got, which won't really solve the problem. And so you sort of get stuck in this you get backed into a corner pretty quickly on supplements, yeah? And it's something that we see happen a lot in the gym industry and a lot in the personal training industry. It's approaching supplements as simply as a revenue source. Yeah, it's a revenue source, but it's also a solution for your client, and you've got to approach it carefully from that stage there. Now, most of the time at those stages is actually helping your client. Now, if you want to take this from a bit of a smarter point of view, you can always look at your client, and if you've done a really good session on building your avatar. Yeah, we've done some videos on that. So knowing exactly who your client is, niching it right down so you've got one really specific type of client. At that point, then you can probably pick and choose a very select range of supplements that might suit those clients. In a general nature, most likely if you can get a really good spread of supplements in a narrow range, that might sort of be able to help quite a few of your clients. But it's not the best way to focus on building your revenue right now. And I would say if you're a small business trying to grow, simply adding a quick fixed revenue source to your business is probably not going to solve the bigger problems. If you're buying supplements in to solve a problem specifically for your client, then you're probably in a position to actually make that choice. But if you're approaching the supplement decision as simply a source of new revenue, then it's probably going to end in just more of a headache than anything else. There's not that big a range or markup in it anyway. You simply don't have the budget probably to buy it in bulk. Like we don't have the supplement range or the budget to buy it in bulk. So a smaller business just growing is definitely not going to have that. So you're probably not going to get much of a margin in it, and you're really not going to see much of a profit from it anyway. It's not to say you shouldn't do it. However, from a revenue point of view, it's probably not the best place to start. There's probably better ways to start on boosting your revenue. And if you're still at that stage of boosting revenue, I'd probably go back to lead gen and marketing before I looked at supplement ranges. Yeah, unless you want to become a supplement store, in which case, different business altogether. So, I mean, my views on supplements will change from quite a few other people out there, but we tend to look at our client base. Look, we work on the 90% of the population that don't feel comfortable going to the gym. 10% of the population feel comfortable in the gym. That's the big bulky guys. They love it. The show off, got the mirrors, all that sort of stuff. We focus on typically the more, I just want my life to be a little easier. I want to fit into my pants sort of people. Those mum and pop guys that just want to get a little bit more fitness. So for them, supplements aren't a huge benefit. And most likely, most of our guys are beginners. So we need to focus more on just balancing out and stabilizing their diet before we go anywhere near adding supplements in. At this point, supplements are only valuable to them if they're missing a certain element from their diet. We can use that supplement to fill the void while we fix the diet in the first place and then remove the supplements. There are a couple of situations where we do use supplements, but most of the time it's all about resolving an issue short term till we can fix it long term. It's never really about fixing a problem with the supplement. That just is still like a band-aid to hold things together. It's kind of like duct taping your car back together until you get home to fix it, yeah? So that's sort of, from a supplement point of view, that's how we run it in our business. But, I mean, you've got to look at what is the point of the supplements in the first place. What sort of clients are you working with? I want to talk today about a couple of different models you can use and different ways you can bring supplements into your business, depending on what sort of clients you're working with. So there's 4 basic models for bringing in supplements to your business. Either A, you're looking at it purely from a profit line. B, you're looking at it from a client support point of view. So looking to support your clients and their needs. C, you're working with a client who is either they're it's a high-end PT, they're business pros, they're people who typically are very, very busy, quite successful, don't have a lot of time, very, very time poor, and they're sort of that go, top end sort of typically people who wear suits to work all day, yeah? They're very, very go, top end business professionals. Those guys are very busy and it's a time solution issue there. Otherwise, your fourth model is going to be looking at high-end athletes. So if you're working with those top-end pros, and now they're 4 very different reasons to bring in supplements, but once again, they're all built around what type of clients you typically service. So, I mean, let's look at those 4. Let's break those 4 down next. So the first one's a profit line. That's the simple one. Now, we've talked about this before. There is lots of ways to run a fitness business, and the most common one with a gym sort of scenario is bums on seats model. So that is simply big facility or large facilities you can sort of manage, and the whole purpose is to get as many people through the door as possible. That's your bums on seats model. That's typically how a big 12-week challenge sort of system will work. It's how a big box gym will work. Big box gym break-even is normally about 1,500 to 2,000 members. Ideally, they want to have about 5,000 members to be sitting profitably. And that means having a lot of people coming to the door and working on that principle that most people won't show up all the time. I know some of the big box gyms, I won't say the names on the podcast, but typically there's quite some large gyms in Australia who they work on a principle that if any more than 5% of their members showed up, they actually would have to close the building down, or they wouldn't be able to sit in the fire code because there'd be too many people in the building to actually use any equipment. Lineups would be hours long. So, they're talking about a 1 to 2% of population actually showing up on a daily basis as far as their gym members are concerned. That's your bums on seats model. Now, there's no reason you can't run that model. It's a very good model. It does actually work quite well as a business choice. It's just not how we run our business. However, that sort of model is typically, if you're going to run protein, you're looking to sell that in bulk. So you've got to give people a reason to buy it. Typically, it's part of a challenge. It's part of their program. You might give them a free sample when they first sign up, and then they're going to buy from you. Essentially, what you're trying to do is convince them that your product is a good enough quality product and that your team can support the client enough to continue using that product correctly, and that you're also a good supplier at a good price for that model. Now, you have to compete on price for that model. So that means you're going to be outsourcing the protein in bulk. And that's sort of something you're going to have to look at cost-wise there. Initially, it can be quite difficult to get that set up, but once you get the volume of sales turning over, you'll need regular sales too. That's quite a good model to work with if you want to simply make profit from the supplements. So there's no reason you can't do that. It's definitely a good, valid model, but it does need to match your business model. So if your business model is working with clients who need high needs and it's very, very personalized service, then a high profit turnover supplement model for adding supplement to your revenue is not going to be a good choice. It's got to match your client base, essentially. It's kind of like putting fast car parts on a slow car. It just doesn't really match. Yeah. Typically, these are, in that high model, you're going to be looking at adding to the meal plan. And these clients typically just want to be told what to do. They're looking for a quick fix, instant gratification on their fitness. They just want to come in, be given the solution, put it into place. In which case, that way, that model works really well with supplements. Clients come in, they get given a food plan, they get sold some supplements, they get given a program, they do the thing, they go home, they feel better. And that model works quite well, I said, but it's not a model that's well suited if you're a very focused care on the clients, where you're really trying to focus on what the client needs. Great for beginner PTs though. If you're just starting off in the industry and you don't have a lot of knowledge in the industry yet and a lot of experience in the industry yet, and when I say experience, I don't mean having done your own challenge and lost your own 20 kilos. That doesn't count as experience. Experience counts as working with actual clients and helping to uncover their problems, their whys, and resolve their issues. You want to look at your experience in terms of how many clients have you helped actually create change that you can measure. Because typically when we're looking at nutritional change, it's over time. Simply giving someone a food plan doesn't count as experience. It's giving them a food plan, making adjustments so that long-term that food plan actually creates the change. So that's how we sort of measure our experience there. And there's lots of courses you can look at too. So if you're looking to get some more nutritional knowledge, there's lots of great courses around there. There's also lots of bad ones as well. You don't necessarily have to go to uni to get a really good fitness nutrition course though, yeah? There's actually, if you're in Australia, on the Gold Coast in Queensland, there's a company called HPC, Human Performance Centre, and big shout out to GT out there. They hands down do one of the best nutrition courses, level 1 and 2, and an advanced supplements course that I've ever seen. And now it's not going to compare to a dietetics course or nutritionalist course, but let's be honest, you're not doing this nutritional course to become a nutritionalist or a dietetic. You're doing this course to better help your clients in the fitness industry. And if you're looking for that sort of course, this is definitely one of the best courses I've come across. There's a lot of other courses there. A lot of the PT courses out there, like Fit College and places like that, also do their own nutritional course. The HBC one just goes more into depth than any course I've ever seen. So if you're you really love your knowledge, you want to sort of learn as much as possible, definitely one to look at. If you do get the opportunity to do it, I definitely recommend doing it face-to-face, not online. The face-to-face is just going to be a much deeper experience, and there's no substitute to being able to ask questions on the day, yeah? Look, the second model, so that's our profit line one. If you're looking to make profit line, you want to match fast-moving clients with a fast-moving program and a fast-moving product. Client support. All right, so if you're more a client-focused person, where not necessarily working on athletes or top-end sort of clients, but you are working on a very, very supportive nature where you want to work one-on-one with your clients or really handhold them all the way through the experience to create some change, then you're really not going to be talking about a high volume of supplementation. And realistically, supplements in this instance are probably better off outsourced. Have a network set up with a local business that you can then refer to. And if you refer enough clients to them, they're going to start referring clients back to you as well. And it's going to be an all-in. So you're sending them clients, they're sending you clients. Actually a really good way to network. And if you're a small business starting off, this is definitely hands down one of the best models to work with, because not only does it help you build a really good network really, really quickly, it also helps you set yourself as someone who's different from the rest of the industry, because most gyms will be working on that bums on seats model. If you're showing a higher care for your clients, it's a greater experience. Clients are going to love it. So, I mean, in this sort of situation, supplements are really just filling gaps in their nutrition. So if you've got someone who is just a lazy eater, you want to correct their eating first. But let's say you've got someone who is a mum with 2 jobs and 3 kids. So not a lot of spare time there. Safe to say they're probably going to be lacking the nutrition because time is the issue here. So in this case, supplements might help fill the void while you find better ways to fill the nutrient, the sort of nutritional gaps there. It's typically used to fill the gaps because you want to have them eating as well as possible, and then supplements are just going to be a gap filler here at this point. Sometimes it's a gap filler just while you fix the nutritional diet plan. Other times it's just because currently life is just too hard for them to manage that way. This one, you sort of need a bit more knowledge though. You've got to really deep dive into the client's why and what they want, what they're trying to achieve, because it provides a unique opportunity for you as a specialist in the fitness industry, not only to suggest a supplement, but also prescribe. I'm not supposed to use that word, are you? But to really recommend a supplement based on a solution. So rather than just going, hey, you want to lose weight, go get this supplement, it's great for weight loss. you go, okay, well, looking at your lifestyle and all your choices here, I can see that you're super busy there. You have no time to do any meal prep and times like that. What we can do is we can start with some protein, but we're just going to put it into a smoothie in the morning. That's something you can drink on the way to school when you're dropping the kids off, and you can have a good nutritious breakfast before you get there. That way you're getting a really good start to the day and you're not losing any time. And at that point, you start being the person who's creating a solution for the client rather than just selling them a product. Yeah. And look, you're mostly going to be working on a habit correction model with these guys anyway. So the protein is just going to be, is it going to make it easier for this client to take on the new habits? Yeah. Okay. So your third model is going to be your busy high-end PT. So if you're selling top-end PT products, maybe you're working online doing like top-end coaching with PTs and clients, you're probably working with a higher clientele, sort of, especially in that sort of high echelon of their employment status, their top-end managers and regional managers, things like that, maybe doctors and surgeons, who are typically very, very busy business professionals, don't have a lot of time, and typically their focus is not 100% on their health all the time. It's just something they're trying to add into their program. They're very, very busy at work, quite successful. They're spending a lot of focus on that. They're not going to give that up or change that, but they do need to add some health back into their diet. These guys are typically the easiest to work with because as soon as you get them across the line as far as what they need to do and how they get there, they're normally on it straight away. But what they don't want to do is have to do a heap of extra things that are going to take away from their time being successful. So we see this a lot with surgeons. A good example is a neurosurgeon I once worked with. Obviously, brain surgery is not exactly a job where you can just take a lunch break halfway through. You kind of can't just put things on hold to get some lunch. So typically those surgeries can go from anywhere from 2 hours to 12 hours. And once you're in, you don't stop until you're done. And so for these guys and girls, it's, supplements are the only way they're going to survive. So typically they're getting fed during the surgery in all sorts of manners. But if you can get a good nutritional supplement in there, at least they're getting some good nutrition while they're operating. And you'll see this a lot with busy guys as well who are on the go all the time. Sales reps who travel a lot. These guys don't typically have a steady source of nutrition. So having a really good supplement to sort of support them is super important. So these guys have no time. And if you're sort of working with a lot of these guys already, you already sort of know that. The supplement side of thing here, now this is where you can start to source a bit of a higher quality supplement, because if you're working with really high-end PT clients, then they're probably quite comfortable paying a little bit extra for the quality. And now this is a small businesses where you can start to bring in actual supplements as part of your revenue line, part of your stock, because you're not going to get them as cheap because you're not buying as big a bulk. You want to spend a little bit more and get the quality so that your client is getting that experience. But if you're working with clients who typically see value in paying more for more quality, they're also going to have no problem paying more for a better supplement, especially if it's recommended by you and you're their coach, their source of quality already. Cool. So that's probably one reason you could definitely be bringing supplements into the line. And the fourth reason is to hyper pro with your athletes. Now, these are the guys that are top end performers in sport. Now, if you're working with these guys successfully, you probably already have your knowledge dialed in around supplements. So you know what you're talking about here and don't need my help on that. However, if you're looking to get into this industry, you definitely need to know your stuff about supplements, every part of nutrition, as well as training and performance, to get really a lot of success with these guys. Now, these are also the ones that you've really got to do your homework on these. Most of the time, if you're a fitness professional, unless you're actually part of the team's development with these athletes, you're not going to be part of the nutrition journey at all, because they've probably got their own nutritional person. Now, if you're working with maybe just some state and national level guys, probably don't have that level of team support yet, then it's probably well worth looking at building a network with another nutrition pro. Unless you're already on point with this sort of stuff and you've got all the experience you need, then it's definitely going to be worth your while building an alliance with someone else of equal stature in your profession on the nutritional side of stuff. So here, you sort of got to look at what's going to best suit your clients well, your athletes well. Do you get your own supplement in? Do you have enough of these athletes coming through your doors that it's worthwhile getting in these quality supplements? Or, are you looking at someone that maybe does some drop shipping or some sort of affiliate deal where you're working alongside a company where you can order for the client and keep a cut of their actual supplement proteins? And there are a few companies out there that do that. You will have to do your research though, because when you're talking about these high-end athlete guys, definitely, look, it's definitely someone you want to get it right with the first time, yeah? If you're just stepping into this industry, I would definitely suggest aligning yourself with a nutritional dietitian that specializes in athletes before I jumped right into actually trying to pull some supplements in off the shelf and try and get them that way. So that's your 4 ways of adding supplements to your profit line. You've got your basically your high volume turnover, which is your profit guys. Your in-out bums on seats model, typically 12-week challenges and big box gyms. Those guys, look, probably you're not going to spend top dollar on a protein. You don't want to get dirt cheap, but you want something that tastes good and it's just going to be easy to sell, easy to move for the clients. Yeah. You got your client support one where you're probably looking at building a network alliance rather than stocking the supplements. And that's for those clients where you typically work in a more personal nature, that sort of VIP type hand-holding nature. You've got your busy high professionals. These guys don't mind spending a little bit extra money, and you know that. So it might be worthwhile looking at getting your own line of supplements here. We can get them branded, a little bit better quality, because you know that your clients don't mind spending the money on this sort of product. And your last one is your athletes, where you really just need to know your stuff. Most of these guys aren't going to be taking any off-the-shelf supplements, and if they are, they're looking at some sort of balance because they're supporting they basically, let's face it, they've got massive needs on their body, massive demands and stress on their body from all their training. They need a very, very solid nutritional profile to back all that up. But typically, they're already working on high-quality nutrition, high-quality supplementation to balance that out anyway. So the best you might be looking at there, if you're not starting with someone from fresh, is maybe just helping support their existing journey. Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to supplements, there's a lot of reasons to put supplements in your business. But if you're a small business that's just scaling up, I guess the bottom line here is you want to look at the type of clients that you're typically working with and work on the 80-20 rule. Focus on providing a product or sort of, I guess, part of your service that is going to support 80% of your clients. There's always going to be that 20% or that 10% either end of clients that don't quite fit the model, and that's okay. When we talk about those athletes, for most PTs, you've probably only got 5% of your clients who actually are athletes. The rest are general nature. So when you're looking at building your business, scaling quickly, you want to scale for the volume of your business, for the majority of your business. Don't try and scale products in for those 1% to 2%ers thinking you'll get more of those people. If you've already got a client base that's 80% of this, focusing on these guys is just going to get rid of these guys, not get more of these guys. So I would be focusing on the bigger part of your clientele, your 80% of your population, and which one of these models is going to best support them. Because if it best supports your client, it's going to best support you as well. And look, I can tell you now, there's nothing worse than buying, $1 to 10 grand worth of product and having it sit on the shelf and no one buys it. At the end of the day, if you're not comfortable selling and promoting supplements, it's not likely that you're going to get good at it overnight. If you've got several staff members that work with you and they're not already recommending supplements, it's not part of their regular routine, you having a whole bunch of supplements on the shelf is not likely to suddenly turn your team into a bunch of trainers that suddenly recommend supplements. If you're looking at doing this for the first time, and you've got a team, I would probably recommend having a sit down with the team first and finding out their views on supplements and whether or not they feel it's something that they would on a regular push. And if they do feel it's something they would regularly push, are they regularly doing it already? Where are they referring people at the moment? And if you're already sending people to, say, one particular supplement store in town, it might be well worth you going in to meet that supplement company and actually see if you can get up some sort of networking deal with them where you buy in bulk from them or you send all of your clients there for a discount. That's one way to get started as well. So there's lots of ways to do this, but it's definitely a profitable model if you're looking to scale your business up. But it really does matter that you do it right. Cool. So, I mean, guys, that's my thoughts on supplements and what I think could potentially help you out. If you've got any questions, feel free to let us know. Don't forget, as always, hit like, hit subscribe. If you haven't jumped in our Facebook group, make sure you do, please. Simplified Fitness Business. Heaps of freebies in there, heaps of good stuff in there. And all our podcasts will be up there, new ones every week. So, guys, that's it. I'm Coach Ben, stepping out for the day. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. As always, remember to simplify everything. Keep it simple. The KISS method always works best. One little baby step at a time, and you'll find you'll slowly progress up. Key to scaling is really just to focus on what's the next step. Yeah? All right. That's it on supplements, guys. Have a good awesome day, and we'll see you soon. Catch you later.